Hey there, Green Thumb traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Happy Tuesday. It's February 25th. Hope you're doing awesome. In this video, we're going to do an earnings prep video for Green Thumb's upcoming Q4 2024 and full fiscal 2024 earnings. Again, if you're not familiar with these videos, essentially I go over the analyst estimates. I add them all up and I get an overall consensus, and then we have the numbers to be looking for into the earnings reaction to see whether or not they beat or miss, and the reaction to coincide with that. So we'll take a look at the numbers. There's also a bearish continuation pattern, a weekly bear flag saying we could see quite a bit more downside on GTBIF stock. So we'll take a look at that and more in just a moment. Before we do, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell. You've been notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. And full disclosure, I do own Green Thumb in my MJ portfolio. You can follow us over on X as well. Formerly Twitter handle for that is @GroupPow. This is the earnings release, press release. Green Thumb Industries to hold fourth quarter and full year 2024 earnings conference call on February 26, 2025. And that's going to be after market closes tomorrow. And then there'll be a conference call at 5 p.m. Eastern time as well. Not sure I'll have time to join that tomorrow. I've got a busy day. I'll do my best. But if I don't end up joining it, let me know your biggest takeaway from the earnings call. I'll do my best to do an earnings review video as well tomorrow. Like I said, I've got a busy day and a busy week, really. But I'll do my best, and I might even live stream the conference call as well, depending on how many requests and interest I have in it. But let me know in the comment section below if you'd like to see me live stream that as well. So now we'll go over the analyst estimates. We take a look at investing.com, TradingView, Moomoo. All these analysts are pretty much expecting the same. So investing, you can see 288.32 million and EPS positive 0.048, which was very similar to the actual for last quarter. And then if we take a look at TradingView, again, 288.99, slightly different, but pretty much a little bit higher, but pretty much the same. And earnings per share, 0.041. And then if we take a look at Moomoo here, watch list, you can see for EBITDA, they're forecasting positive 48.48 million. For revenue, they're forecasting 288.185 million. And for earnings per share, EPS, positive 0.047. So if we add up all of those and get the average, we're expecting 288.499, 498. So you can just say 288.5 million. And for EPS, positive 0.045. So we'll be watching the actuals to see if it comes in line flat, huge beat, huge miss. If we do have a big beat, it's possible that we see a pretty decent pop in the stock based on how weak we have been. The S&P 500 was weak again today. Sector continues to get destroyed, and we have a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt with regards to the German market. The conservative win. Are they going to slow things down, or are they going to completely reverse everything in Germany? While this doesn't directly impact Green Thumb because they only operate in about 14 states, they don't have any international footprint. They're an MJ stock, so they're being lumped in that same sector category, and the stock's been absolutely destroyed. And we did confirm a weekly downtrend. We have our high, low, lower high, very weak bounce. Actually, it was right here, high, low, lower high. We didn't get above the 0.32 fib, and then on this week of January 27th is where we confirmed it. Then you just take your measured move there from the high to the low. And MSOS is a weekly bear flag as well, meaning there's tons of weekly bear flags across the U.S. names. And then it's saying a target of around 617. Last week we hit 660. So in terms of percentages, we're now about 6% away. So the good news is we're probably getting close to a bottom here. But this just goes to show you. I hear people say all the time, once XYZ MJ stock hits positive net income or free cash flow positive, whatever the profitability metric is. Well, okay, what's the excuse for Green Thumb? This stock has pulled back from all-time high to current levels. We're now down 82%, and we were at one point down almost 84%. So again, positive net income, free cash flow. What's it going to take for Green Thumb to reverse, right? It's probably going to take a sector-wide catalyst. We're going to need some sort of reform, whether it be rescheduling. And it's not just, safer banking, rescheduling, descheduling, whatever. It doesn't, like, no one cares, right? The sector is falling by the wayside. Big tech, crypto, AI continue to steal the show. I've been saying that for many, many months now. And that MJ will benefit once they top out, and then we'll see rotation. But you have to remember that investors are sick and tired of these catalysts amounting to nothing until we see actual concrete reform, meaning 280E goes away either by rescheduling it, it's 100% enacted, and 280E is now gone away, and we know that these companies are going to have tons of extra on their bottom line, right? So at the end of the day, and then same thing with safer banking, until it passes and until it 100% is confirmed, or we get uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, I think that's a very real possibility as well before we see meaningful reform, especially descheduling, because you'll want to get the Wall Street banks positioned, right? Where there's nothing in the world happens without the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, and the Morgan Stanley. So if we can get uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ for these U.S. names to U.S. major exchanges, that's going to open the floodgates and get them positioned before they unleash the shackles, and we really see the momentum, right? And full-blown potentially descheduling and reform in the U.S. But I do think rescheduling and safer banking, very possible over the next year or two. I don't think we're going to see MJ really steal the spotlight until at least 2026, maybe toward the tail end of 2025. Not to say that we can't have some rallies here and there, but there's no way in hell we're going to see 52-week highs or new all-time highs on all of these names until at least 2026, and that would be probably the best case scenario. I'd gladly be wrong on that, but that's just the cold hard truth. And you can see here most names were down on average around 5 to 7% today. MSOX was down over 7%. MSOS is actually targeting 306, and we got very close today. And it also has a weekly bear flag as well. So if we bring up MSOS, you can see here we closed at 314, which was the low, all-time low. And yeah, it's not looking good. 306 is the target in the short term, and then the weekly bear flag there is 222. So it could get very, very bloody just from current levels to that target. We're looking at about another almost 30% of downside. CGC is a bear flag as well, this time on the daily time frame. So if we zoom in here to the daily, reset this chart, you can see that we're targeting 132, which is 13 cents pre-split. Pretty wild to think about. So again, if you're only looking at green thumb, you're not getting the bigger picture. And like I said, MSOS, weekly bear flag, which tells us that all of the U.S., most of the U.S. names are seeing another leg down potentially here. And I don't think that... I don't think that anything's going to really change that in the short term. There's just absolutely no sentiment. There's talks about the new administration and Trump saying that he's bringing back the death, like he's all for the death penalty for traffickers. Well, I think he's talking about harder drugs, not medicine, right? Not MJ. He's already said support for Amendment 3. That didn't pass, came close. Legalization in Florida. He already says he supports rescheduling. The doctors, amazing. Medical, he says it's been amazing. He was on Lex Friedman talking about it, right? Supports safer banking. So I think it's pro business, pro common sense, and the writing is on the wall there. But he did appoint a new pardon czar, so that's something that, and that was the person that got released for, name is slipping my mind right now, but for MJ-related offenses. So the writing's on the wall, and I think we're in for better days. But again, look at the last commentary from the last report from Q3. In the third quarter, our team delivered impressive results, including $287 million in revenue, adjusted EBITDA of $89 million, or 31% of revenue, and $48 million of cash flow from operations. Green Thumb founder, chairman, and CEO Ben Kovler said, importantly, that the cash flow from operations is after paying $35 million in taxes in the quarter. And like I said, they had positive 0.04 EPS, and then they had 0.09, 0.13 positive. So again, if you're seeing positive EPS, if you're seeing positive free cash flow, well, why is the stock down? Since April, this stock, if we take a look at GTBIF here on the monthly time frame and just zoom out a bit, since April, I should go to the weekly time frame here. Since April, we are down. Well, from the low of last week, we're down 60% and down about 84% from the all-time high to the local low here. So again, if you're down 60 to 80%, what is the excuse for Green Thumb? So, to say like these other names that aren't profitable yet, I don't think that we can say that, right? We need to see the whole sector reverse confirm monthly uptrends, and we actually need some sort of reform that has some teeth to it, right? Some concrete reform, right? Not just movement and progress and hopes and promises. We need actual concrete reform and movement. And then once that happens, yeah, some of these more profitable names might see, a pretty decent uptick. But there's just don't go sleeping on that, because like I said, a lot of people, I see it with the Canadian LPs all the time. They're saying, oh, once they hit positive EPS or positive free cash flow or whatever profitability metric, or once margins hit a certain threshold, well, this company, Green Thumb, has industry-leading margins. They're absolutely amazing. Positive EPS, like I said, positive free cash flow. So again, it's not that. It's the whole sector needs to reverse and become popular again, and it's just not at all. The sentiment is the absolute worst. Also, Boston Beer just reported their fourth quarter financial results, and I just jotted down some of the highlights here. Shipments declined by 5.8% for the quarter compared to the same quarter last year, indicating weaker demand for core brands like Sam Adams and Twisted Tea. I can't stand Twisted Tea. Oh my God, they're bad. But some of the Sam Adams isn't bad. Net income dropped significantly to $11.2 million in Q4 2024 from $19.5 million in the same quarter 2023, driven by lower volumes and higher operating expenses. Full year 2024 depletions grew by 1%, outperforming the beer category, suggesting some brands maintain market share despite industry headwinds. So the reason why I bring this up is because maybe they're going to be looking to branch off into the MJ space, and there's talks that maybe even Green Thumb could acquire them. So we'll see what happens here. But yeah, there's a little bit of a sign of the times here that they might be looking to more creative ideas, and what better way to get into like hemp derived things like that, right? Which we know that GTI went through with the Señorita brand and that acquisition. So we'll see what happens here. Still not completely writing this off as a potential acquisition and M&A, merger and acquisition type of deal. We'll see if anything amounts to that, but curious to hear everybody else's thoughts in the comment section below. But like I said, weekly bear flag, not looking too hot here at the moment. More than likely expecting another leg down. We're at the low of the week here so far, low of the day. So not great whatsoever. And like I said, we could still see that target of 617 hit. Wouldn't be surprised in the least. So we'll keep an eye out on the earnings reaction. Like I said, it's after market close. So we'll get a general idea the following morning once the markets open up, the opening bell, and once a real volume comes in. But curious to hear what everybody thinks. Do you think they're going to beat? Do you think they're going to miss? Always love hearing from you. Personally, I think it's going to come in somewhere around flat. I don't think there's going to be much of a reaction. I think it's just going to be the sector headwinds and bear flags across the sector continuing to pull us down slowly but surely. But then we should see a pretty big flush and then a recovery. And then, like I said, once we get some actual reform, concrete reform, then I think the sector will reverse, not when a certain profitability metric is going to be hit, right? This isn't value investing. You're in the highest risk industry. Value investing is literally a conservative approach, which you use, price to earnings and all these different valuation metrics, right? So it just doesn't make sense to do it in the MJ industry. Eventually, in 5, 10, 20 years, maybe, but this is a growth industry, very, very high risk, and it does not trade based on fundamentals or earnings. All right. Hope you have a great night. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we'll catch you on the next video.